In the version of Wing Chun that I was shown, there's a technique called spring arm. And with spring arm, what I found out or figured out through training it over a long period of time was that it also gives you, and is training, a type of unbending arm. And so I'm going to show you the spring arm here and give you at least one or two application type things so you can get some use for it. We are going to do an entire video on unbending arm and different kinds of fighting applications for it, and there's a bunch. It's not just, okay, that's a nice parlor trick, although you might have to start with that to make sure you have it. I'm going to show you one way to build it using spring arm to do that, and then give you some uses for spring arm. And so we'll start that now. I'll use you. So with the first thing is the same posture that we used when we were doing extended arm and protected hand, and it's extended, and so I was extended here. Go ahead and turn it up for the moment so that it's kind of like you're underneath to lift something very heavy and very big. And obviously you might be doing that closer to your body, but in this case do it where you can't. Your arms are actually out there in front of you like this, right? And from here, what I want you to do is to think about reaching for something while you're taking this part and pulling it in to yourself while this part's reaching out and the elbow's down. And so with that, you're extending that arm, right? And so from here, if I lay that on there and he's trying to crank that arm, just crank down on that with some strength if you would. Notice I can kind of stay right there. It hurts his shoulder a whole lot more than it hurts me, and make it so it doesn't hurt your shoulder and still crank. And what you'll find is that I can kind of stay there with it like that, and he's not able to bend it. Now, as soon as I tense, which is where I was going with that, it's going to go quick. So now no tension in doing the extending, and I'm looking down through there and I'm purposely go ahead and crank on it. And putting that out there, and you find that it's just not quite going to go. Okay, and that was with them almost hanging off of it. Now, if you hit somebody with this, make sure you're good. Yeah. So if you hit somebody with this, and this is just grr, versus if you do this extending arm and hit it again, it's a whole different quality of hit. And you can do this with a partner. Be very, very, very careful with it. Do this. Make sure you've got a partner that's up for this, by the way. Don't just grab anybody and go, come here, whack! Right? And here. And then make sure it's going into here and you don't miss and hit them in the head or something. And then extend that arm for what we're talking about here. And do it again. And let your partner tell you the difference in the two things. Don't put any more in it. Just kabam, and then do this. Make sure it's got that extended and the quality that I put in the shoulder that we're talking about. And do it again and let them tell you. Okay, so what I saw folks doing when they started working on it was they kind of went, okay, here, and then they kind of went, here, and they weren't sure even if they were doing it right, but they were trying to do the hit. Don't try to do the hit on the partner first. Hold your arm out there, like just put it out in that. Okay, now do the extra extension here, pull back there, turn that hand over. Do this first. And if it just collapses, then that's not right. So the hit's not going to be any different. If they have what they're supposed to have in there, now do one without, one with. That way you know the quality that you're looking for is happening. Otherwise, how do you know the quality is even right? It's no different. Yeah, it doesn't feel much different to me either. Make sure you've got the unbending part, and then that's what you're tapping with on that second. Okay. Okay, look, for the advanced on the unbending arm, let me have you out here, and I'll warn you ahead of time, this is not going to be the most pleasant thing he's done all day. Put the other arm on forward so they can see, or turn sides if you want to use that arm. What's better for you? Okay. So unbending arm here, where they're unbending right now, in order to find this way, and he tries to crank that arm, and notice I'm looking kind of flimsy about it. He's trying to put like everything he's got in it, which is fine. Okay, so from there, and it's breaking quality hitting and knockout quality hitting. And it's horrifying would be the right word for it. I didn't hit him up here with it, I did tap that with it. So be this way once. And it's just there and then knock them out. And they can't, really with GER aren't going to stop that. It goes there. That'll be in our tape that's like an hour long. video on it because there's steps to get there. The first step to really hit with this, what happens to most people is even if they can get it, and remember they're pulling in here and they're extending out there, and for the first level one, go ahead and crank that if you would. And I don't worry about him. All I'm doing is putting it out there on that end and pulling it in over here, and they just keep doing that, right? And then what happens is people go to hit it and they lose the quality because they don't have the quality, they don't understand the quality enough yet. So what you have to do at first is go ahead and make sure you've got the quality, and then practice moving where the movement's all coming from here, and from here out to the end of that arm isn't changing. That's staying the same. I'm not moving that right now. I'm moving this. And so what's happening is, if you'll do that once, is it's that. Okay? Switch sides so they can see this from there. Bang. And it's from there. Okay, so that way it's this, not that to begin with. Then once you've got that going on, then you can do the hitting, but again, it's not going to be here to begin with. It's going to be here's without, here's with. I'm not moving from here up. I'm not moving. It's really waist like that. Be careful with your partner. All right. So now that you've done that and felt the difference between this and that in terms of without unbending, that quality, it's extended arm and width, then the next part of this is spring arm. And for spring arm, you're going to kind of do this same thing, but your partner's going to help you. So what I want you to do is to take your arm and go into the extended arm and make sure that this is pulled, do it on the other side so they can see, or we can change. Which is better for you? All right, make sure that's pulled in, make sure that's extended out. Let's check. That's good, stay right there. All right, and then I want him to keep this on my chest. So when I go this way, I want him to be everything he can. I want him to keep it aimed right here. So if I can get him over there, he's not aimed right there right now. If I go this way, I want him to aim there. I'm going to go up, I want him to aim right there. I'm going to go down, I want him to aim at that spot. Right? He could just easily say, keep it on that patch right there. No matter where I take you, you want to be on the patch. Yeah, you got to keep it so that it's springy. Because if it doesn't have spring and it's tense, it'll just break and it'll hurt and everything else. If it's springy, it'll want to do what it's doing right now. Aim it at that. And keep that quality, bend that elbow a little bit. And it is work. I'll warn you that ahead of time. It's not something that just is simple the first time you do it. Right? Yeah, don't let it get to your head and body. And then mix and match it. That's it. Okay, so we have a video on internal iron body that will help with the quality that you're looking for there in developing that. Also in our Shinyi program, it's the very first thing we do is called Shinyi Post, and it's going to be using this same principle of how to do things. Our knockout striking package is going to have some things that lend itself to this. And like I said, we are going to be filming the unbending arm and how to do a lot of different fighting applications with it. And we'll go from sort of this more extended, for lack of a better way to put it, rigid one at the moment. And then we'll eventually get one that's really soft and yet still has all the nice qualities that you'd be wanting for real serious self-defense uses. If you're having trouble with the stiff one, get that worked out first, and you'll be ready for the rest. Now, we have one of you real quick here. This one. And so it's literally here, he does what he did to block it, bang, and you just fold it right over and land it on them. Now, do what you did there and kind of catch with that other hand again, bang, and I'm here with this one as well. Or, bang, and see where I've got this one. Boom, I'll let it go again. Bang, and you push it again. Bang, and it just really, you get really, so that from here, this way of doing things, it's that. And I'm being careful to pull these and not really let them fly because it's like you took a 2x4 and went, pow! And so you gotta be careful, very careful with your partner, or you will be, if you're lucky, taking them to the hospital, please. All right, we do it this way. And I let that one fly a little bit so you can see carefully. I'm putting it somewhere that I know you can do it. The same thing if I'm here, and I pull down. Anyways, come this way once. And you see he's putting the pressure there, bang, and right on the, show you what I just did to him there. So he blocked that, boom, right in the rib, right across the face on the other side. And notice that's across the top of the head. Boom, and you're just tearing up with it. And the reality here would tend to be a little more like this, and then I start feeling the right kind of pressure stop somewhere. I'm not going to see. Start feeling the kind of pressure stop somewhere. That's when I turn that on. Come back around so they can see where you just got clipped. That's when I turn that on. Let's do it on the arm, but it would have been here. You just let it go. Be careful with people, please. All right. Yeah. Do this one. Boom. So it didn't stop it. So you want to stop that arm from coming in there. Boom. Bang. Again, whatever. And you can tell it just it takes the head off. You got to be careful with your partner with these. Boom. And like so. Okay. Some other way. So I'm here. You okay? Good. That one tapped him just a little bit more than I meant to. Okay. Good. Alright. Because this one I literally played off of here and just pushed. He pushed back a little bit like that, and when he did, it would let it fly. Okay. Like I say, be very careful with your partners. I'm pulling these a lot. Because only one of these, well, John, you mind if I tap you a little bit? Sure. I'm not going to tap you on the body. Or if I do, it'll be where you can take it. Yeah. Right here, he's trying to